Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review for Halloween month. And now we're on a thriller that, well, I can't say I rant on it because first of all, there's some of the things that I like about it, which means I can't rant on it though. But there is a couple of nitpicks I do have with it though. But overall, I do like the film, and that is of A Perfect Getaway. Now, Perfect Getaway was released in 2009, directed by David Tui Tui, and this is a guy who directed Pitch Black. He directed all the Pitch Black movies, the Riddick There goes by the Riddick movies though, but the first Pitch Black, then Chronicles of Riddick, then just Riddick. And they also directed the horror submarine film, which I like, called Below. Like the haunted ghost submarine movie. They had Bruce Greenwood, even Zach Galifianakis had a role in it. Zach Galifianakis in a horror film, that's different. And it was years before the Hangover movies. And David Tui, and then he directed this film. And it stars Timothy Olyphant, which of course, the star of the TV show Justified. And he was the bad guy in the fourth Die Hard film, Live Free or Die Hard. Then of course he was in the Hitman, of course the first Hitman movie, the one that's based on the video game, The Hitman. But he's been in other films too, though. And then you got Milla Jovovich from the Resident Evil movies. Kiele, Sanchez, which I'm not too familiar on her, but then you got Steve Zahn, mainly doing comedy movies, and also Chris Hemsworth as well. Chris Hemsworth, this is a couple of years before taking on the role of Thor in the Marvel movies. So yeah, early role before becoming Thor. So for the cast, I thought it was very decent. It was very decent, So, and I like some of the shots, which they said in Hawaii. I think they shot in another place, though, but mostly in Hawaii, which I was pretty good looking shots. Okay. So the more reasons I don't hate on the movie though, but there are some issues I have with a couple of nitpicks. Not issues, but nitpicks, I would say. And if anyone hasn't seen this film, I had to get into spoilers in this though. So if anyone hasn't seen this film, hasn't seen this film, just stop the review and then go back and watch it. So just watch the movie first and then get into the review of this then. So, moving on with the spoilers right now. So the story is we open with our couple, Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich. They're a couple going on a honeymoon to Hawaii, and then later they meet with the next couple of Timothy Olyphant and Kiele Sanchez. But also before that, when they were driving, they meet with Chris Hemsworth and his other girlfriend, played by Marley Shelton. And with Chris Hemsworth acts like a bit of a dick, because the girl wanted to take a ride with them, but then Chris Hemsworth says no. And then later they meet up with them, thinking that the Steve Zahn's kind of following them. And then they would meet with Timothy Olyphant and then Kiele Sanchez. And Timothy Olyphant, he's a guy who was in the army because what we tell us where he got shot in the back of the head here, and they got put a tectonic plate in the back of his head. And then there was reports that there's some murders going on that happened on the other island on Hawaii, and think of is there happening here? And Then later they found that the police come. They apprehend Chris Hemsworth and his girlfriend, saying that they didn't do anything. Like they find they find some teeth, human teeth, and they get arrested for it. Now, thing is though, we're just rewatching the film and knowing the twist. Because we're first time watching the film, like you don't know anything until the twist happens. But the thing is though, when you after watching the film and you know the twist, it kind of plagues your mind who the real people are. Okay, yeah, I gotta get into the twist of this here. So, the real killers. The real killer couple, you could say. Like I said, spoilers, okay? I gave fair warning, okay? So like I said before, stop before, whatever. But the real killers of the couple are Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich. They're the real killer couples. The killer couple because they killed the real married couple. They had like the opening, and then this video camera of the real married couple getting married, and all that. They killed them and stole their identities. Now, but as I said, knowing the twist though, knowing that twist, it kind of makes me wondering them from early on, from the very start of the beginning, as the film's going on, right? Because you know the twist already, so like they're like Steve Zahn's kind of like whispering to Milla Jovovich, saying they found 2 bodies on the beach, etc., right? But I'm like, why is he whispering? Because to her, because like I said, the twist and that they're the killers, but why is he choosing to whisper to each other? I know they want to cause suspicions, but because Chris Hemsworth and the red herrings, like if it's the killers are Timothy Olyphant, because he like how earlier when he tossed the hatchet to Steve Zahn, he's like, oh, good reflexes for a writer. Or his girlfriend, or Chris Hemsworth and his girlfriend. But there's a whisper other things too. But like, why whispering? Like we know who you are now. Rewatching it, I was like, why rewatching it now, knowing who you are? I was like, why whispering? But also, the nitpicking thing is though, even with that though, even with these killers are supposed to be smart, right? They took the newlyweds' identities, right? And they have a camera, like when they're on the beach and they're like with Timothy Olyphant and Steve Zahn are kayaking, and they leave their stuff on the beach, including the camera. Like the camera is like non-guard because there's stuff in that camera that has some of the real footage of the real married couple. I'm like, you're serial killers, right? You're supposed to be smart in all this. So why would you leave the camera with the footage of the real people in there? So just leave it right there, and for anyone to find. But the girlfriend Kiele Sanchez, she finds it, and then she sees the real people. I'm like, why would you leave that there with the real footage? Can't you just take the memory chip out of there and just throw it away? I mean, that's a big nitpick right there. I mean, you're supposed to be smart, but yet that's how the twist is revealed. But shouldn't you just get rid of that footage anyway? So that no one would suspect. But it's supposed to be that's for the big twist though, because it's real that they're the real killers, and you get like this big flashback which is done in blue filter. But I felt like it just dragged. The flashback, it just dragged on because it goes with because it goes with Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich, taking the newlyweds' identities, like cutting their hair, trim the beard, or whatever, or using their trying to shade their voice to mimic them, knowing their personalities and all that stuff. But it takes part but it also shows in the flashback. It also shows with Timothy Olyphant and his girlfriend before they got to the islands, like with Timothy Olyphant and the girlfriend. Like the girlfriend was talking with this jewelry merchant about him buying a proper wedding ring, and Timothy Olyphant telling about that. With his wedding ring. I think you could have cut that part out. And the flip with Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich doing the makeover for the identity thing. And they have a little dispute, on the beach. Like Milla Jovovich doesn't agree more fully what Steve Zahn's decisions are. But I mean, you could take some of this, trims that flashback out, because it felt like it was dragging on, because it felt like it was going on for about, I want to say it goes on for almost 10 minutes though, because I was like, okay, we get the logistics of the flashback though, but cut out Timothy Olyphant and Kiele Sanchez's flashbacks, just keep it with Steve Zahn and Milla Jovovich. But so that's another nitpick though. But I'm like, why just leave the footage in that camera with the real people in there? But Kiele Sanchez finds out, tries to signal Timothy Olyphant, but he doesn't hear her properly. And when they're in this cave, Timothy Olyphant knows something in his drink, in his alcohol, like a scorpion, I think it was. Then he kind of knows, and then Steve Zahn shoots Timothy Olyphant, but he hit him in his tectonic plate. And then her and Milla Jovovich, they get in a scuffle, toss her over the cliff, and then Steve Zahn tries to grab her on the cliff, shooting, which she gets stabbed in the leg, and then she gets shot in the hand, and then she stabs him in the hand. And I do like the shot here. Well, it's not kind of like this though, but it shows the Kiele Sanchez, Timothy Olyphant, and Steve Zahn. It shows they're all running at the same time, but this part right here shows where Kiele Sanchez is running, and then this section here shows Steve Zahn running, and then another separate shot where Timothy Olyphant is running, and it shows all three of them in separate times running together at the same time. I did kind of like that shot. I did like that. And especially Steve Zahn mostly does a lot of comedies, right? I thought it was kind of a different a different role. It shows him with the gun right there. I thought it was a kind of a different role. Him playing but the third act goes full on psychopath, with the crazy eyes, because even when there was a guy who was a EMT, I think, he notices his pupils are dilated because of the drugs, right? I mean, you can see Steve Zahn has crazy eyes though with that though. So it's a different kind of role to see Steve Zahn play. Doing comedies, or he's always the comic relief, right? So okay, different kind of role. I thought Steve Zahn did a good job, Although he was also in a horror thriller with Paul Walker that was called Joyride. Paul Walker, may rest in peace. But where they were being chased by a truck driver though, but different movie. But it was nice to see Steve Zahn in a different role. And Milla Jovovich, I'm not really big on her in the Resident Evil movies. I could tolerate her in the first one. The rest of the movies, no. I've just never been a fan of that franchise. I wasn't. The first one was the only one I could tolerate. I was never a fan of the sequels. But I was never really big on her anyway, though. But here, I thought she had a little more, maybe a little more charisma, I would say. Maybe it's the wrong word. More personality in this movie. So I thought, in this case, I think Milla Jovovich, I thought she did fine. Although I did like her in The Fifth Element. That was before Resident Evil. And Timothy Olyphant, I thought he did fine in this role too. Although I'm not also he's another actor who I'm not really big on. Although I have not seen his TV show Justified though, but I do like Die Hard 4, Live Free or Die Hard though, but he was an issue as a villain. I thought he was not the best villain though for me though. But it's not the best. At the same time, it's not the worst role ever though. He's tolerable, but he's not. But to me, he was a weak villain. But here though, Timothy Olyphant, I thought he did fine in this role though. Kiele Sanchez, I thought she did fine too. She does. And then Kiele Sanchez gets to these 4 guys. One of them has to is like a paramedic, and she notices that Steve Zahn's pupils are more dilated because of the drugs, and then he shoots them. And then Timothy Olyphant gets I like the fact where Timothy Olyphant comes jumping down and uses his whole knife and cuts Steve Zahn's hand almost practically in half. I thought it was a pretty good effect where his hand is almost like split in half. And then the police come. Jovovich is on the helicopter. So the guy's like, which one should he shoot? But then Kiele Sanchez goes to Timothy Olyphant and hugs him. That they're not the ones. And then Milla Jovovich just goes and does a total 180 and tells the police to shoot Steve Zahn because he's the one. Because by this time, I guess in that instant, she realized that now her life was messed up because of him. Which that was one of the arguments. But yeah, she decided to just go to turn 180 and tells him to shoot Steve Zahn. Which basically eventually ends up getting her arrested as well because she was with him. So, but then they both get rescued, and Timothy gives her her ring, and then they say they both agreed not to do a honeymoon. So, I mean, like I said, I had to get into it with giving the spoilers because it was hard because there was issues that it just didn't make sense about if I didn't give the spoilers about it, so. I mean, it's hard to rewatch the film again because you know the twist. So, if you're watching the film again, you know already that they're the killers, and you see some decisions they make before the twist happens. I'm like, why are they talking, whispering to each other, or why, they're doing certain pinpoints though. But because you already know the twist, so you know the kill, so that's why they're trying to be a little bit cautious though. But in the fact, he put the teeth in Chris Hemsworth's bag, and they were saying some things, that a frame and all that stuff, but that's. So it wasn't really on. That's another nitpick on the script part because David Tui also not only directed but he also wrote the movie. So some of the parts of the script I thought kind of falls on that aspect. But overall, I did like the movie though, despite the nitpicks like keeping the footage of in that camera, which why couldn't you just throw it away? But the cast, I thought the main cast I thought did fine. Timothy Olyphant, Steve, that was fine. Steve Zahn, different role when it comes to the third act. Definitely different role from his comedic roles. Milla Jovovich, I thought she did fine in this film. Bit better than I thought than the Resident Evil movies. I'm sorry. And Kiele Sanchez, I thought she did fine too. Nice to see Chris Hemsworth before, like I said, an early role before being Thor. Because it was the same year with this film, and before that, he did in his first debut was in the Star Trek reboot as Kirk's father, in the beginning of the movie. So yeah, that was his debut, and then the next role he did was this, because it was the same year, 2009, and then gained the role in Thor. So, but it was nice to see Chris Hemsworth as well. He was there as a red herring, because they were framed for the murder. So, but yeah, like I said, I liked some of the shots on the locations of Hawaii. I did like that. But A Perfect Getaway, I thought it was pretty decent. Like I said, some of the issues I have with because since you know the twists, and you go back watching the killers, what they're doing, and then the camera footage, and then some of the bits of the writing I thought was a bit off because of like for especially the twist of the real killers. But the cast I thought was solid enough. And I thought David Tui did I would say average above average with this film. Like I'd rather watch the first Pitch Black film. Wasn't big on the sequel, so but I like Below. And he didn't really do too much after that, so with those movies, so. But I wasn't a fan of the Chronicles of Riddick sequel, especially the third one. I was not a fan of. But David Tui, I thought he did fine with this film. Overall, despite the nitpicks I have with it, but I thought overall it was decent. So yeah, that's my review for a Perfect Getaway. Yeah, this is the director's underrated director's cut because it comes with unrated and theatrical. So, but I thought it was decent though. So that's my review for a Perfect Getaway. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review for Halloween month, and we'll see you later.